goodness, she has her devil
There we
ears
are.
on.
Good morning, good
Yeah,
morning,
I
good
got to get my
morning.
antenna.
Hold on one second, folks, as I'm glad to hear your comments, but I have to do my little announcement first. This is a Saturday service. I'm Rabbi Brian. It is the 25th of October, 2025. This is service number 293. And I wrote here Introduction Wisdom. And I think the beginning of wisdom is knowing you don't know anything, which is really good because I have
Yeah.
no idea why I wrote Introduction Wisdom. Anyone at the planning meeting have any recollection why? Okay, well, that's
Ah,
fantastic. I have a, I'm at a different than usual location, so I'm hindered a little bit with technology. I want to show a picture of this is where I am. This is me and Emmett. Yesterday at Wesleyan University, it's Parents' Weekend. And if you
Ah,
look above our
cool.
heads, you'll see there's a rainbow. And if you look really
Wow.
carefully above that, there's a second double rainbow. So it's
oh,
Parents'
wow.
Weekend, and
That is
it's just beautiful,
good luck.
beautiful, beautiful. And so today, instead of my yarmulke, wearing my Wesleyan dad hat.
Aw.
That's
I walk,
nice.
I walk throughout campus,
That's
and
nice.
any dad I see, I say, Wesleyan high five, Wesleyan dad high five, and we do high five. Um, Fortunately, it's my son, not my daughter, so he's not embarrassed. Introduction. There are a number of people who are labeled as co-hosts. It is not such an easy thing to be a co-host. Should you have questions and issues about the service, you may send a private message to them. If you're new around here and you want to know how something goes, you don't feel like asking the whole group. Anyone who's listed as a co-host is volunteered to be of extra help. I wanted us to start with this quote. This quote says, "We don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly." It's a great quote from Anne Marie Bonneau, and I want to thank Maria for giving me turning me on to this quote. We don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. And I want to change the words. I agree completely with this quote, but I want to change the words today to self-care. We don't need a handful of people doing self-care perfectly. We need millions of people doing self-care imperfectly. I'm
Amen.
joined today not only by co-hosts,
Oh,
but by a
sorry.
myriad of people.
Ashman. Oops.
Good. Make
Oops. Um,
sounds like Kimberly. Hello,
Don.
Kimberly. I'm going to mute you for right this moment. They're all my friends. People. If you and there are two people I know who are on Facebook as of right now. It lets me know that. So good morning to the Facebook people as well. Thank you for those of you who are waving. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, James. Good morning, George. And Chad and Lisa, Ellen and Andy and Jen and Kimberly and Letaf. Good morning, Diana and Rita, Emily and Ray and Ann and Stephen and Carolyn and Maria and Alex and George and Harold and Meg and Jack and Dan and Bob and John and Candace. Good morning. Glad everyone's here. And Gord, I think, just joined us. And James, good morning. And hi, Ruth. Glad that you're here as well. So if you want to make sure that you get a personalized shout out from me, you log on at the start of the service. If you really want to, at 7:30 in the morning, we often start this call. So it's 11 o'clock where I am currently. And a half hour before this time, you're welcome to log on and say hi to friends. Also, okay, I'm gonna take a moment to
Take a
pause
breath.
and get all my notes in order. I want to review what we talked about last. I want to review what we talked about last week in the hopes that in the 167 hours since last week, and thank you, John, John and I have had a discussion about when is it appropriate to interject information, and sometimes it's better to be quiet. But John very wisely unmuted himself and corrected me that it's 167 hours since last week, not 168 hours, because 106. Wait, I think actually I got the math on that wrong, John. Any which way, in the last
That's
7 days, is it 168 hours since last week this time?
What?
It'll be
Seven
169
right.
hours. Oh gosh, this is feeling like math, people.
Lots of like
Oh,
math.
I'm
can
going
we
to
have a
just say
math
it
teacher?
this way. We have somebody who taught math. Um, I'm going to say it this way. In the last week, I hope you were thinking some about the topics that we discussed here in this group. Some of the topics included democratry Roy, the meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intention. We talked a little bit about a spiritual barometer. We talked a little bit about the 4-to-1 ratio of being kind to people, noticing of making neutral to positive comments should be on the 4, to every critique or criticism we make should be on a 1. And we also talked about something that was referred to as doing a Diana, which is this thing that Diana taught us once where she was rude to a barista and then turned herself around before she got to the door to apologize to said barista. And we had somebody else who said they learned from Diana's doing that it's something that they could do, and they did the same exact thing at a Walmart where they felt compelled to turn around and apologize to someone that they were just somewhat rude to. So those are things that we talked about last week, and I'm glad to see, is there something that you learned? Is there something that you picked up? Is there some extra wisdom that you have in the last 168 hours on any one of these topics? Or is there something that you're just proud of that you did in this quadrant of spiritual religious life that you want to share with the group?
Well, I one time I remember you saying, and it was like a great relief to me. Oh, those damn dogs. Um, tell that it's good to be envious of people sometimes because
Why is
then
it
you
good
can
to be
say
envious?
you can look at it, you can say because because then you can say to yourself, I can do that too.
Yeah.
And so then you do something different than you've ever done.
Thank you, Emily. Is there an example of that happened in the last week that you care to share with us?
Ah, I can't think of anything at the moment, but I will think of something.
Perfectly fine. So this is an idea Saint Augustine, who said it in Latin, or he wrote it in Latin. No. The ille or este cor non ego. If he or she can do it, why can't I? If somebody has done
Ah,
something, it's apparently doable. And if it's doable, why can't I do it too? And there's something, and I had
yeah.
this with my buddy Larry, which I saw Larry was as kind of a person to every person he met. And I thought, if he can be that kind, I can be that kind too. And I made it my
Mhm.
goal to be the kindest person that I know because of Larry's example.
But
Anything
we've
else?
often, at least we've often, or a lot of times been taught that we should never be envious. That's very bad. Um,
You're right,
or
Emily.
jealous.
So there are two different ways of going with envy and jealousy. One is where you see that somebody has something that you want and it helps you to want to get it. And the other where you see someone has something that you want and you take it away from them because you want it too. You So one of those is healthy, one of those is not healthy, and I'll let you figure out which
Yeah.
is which. And just to add to the confusion of it, sometimes some people use jealousy for one, where the other person would use envy for that word, and people use envy and jealousy interchangeably. There's a
Yeah.
healthy way and an unhealthy way of doing these things, and we're striving for the healthy, that if they can do it, I want to be able to do that too, and I will set my sights on doing it. Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing.
Mhm.
And anyone else have a thing that came up that they want to bring? A new one that I just thought of in this last week, but I want to see what else anyone else has before I jump in. Okay, here's gonna be.
Jump.
I'm gonna share one. We all know this about love. Well, we might not all know this about love, but love has four component parts to it. Tell me if you remember them what they are. The first one is
Isn't it isn't it SAUR? SAUR? You've got RAUR.
it used to be RAUR, and I forgot that I changed it to SAUR. Thank you so much, Dan. So it used to be recognize, but I changed it because I wanted it to sound like dinosaur. So this is sour. Thank you so much. And the first letter S stands for
Seeing.
Seeing.
seeing or hearing. I was talking to someone and they said, sometimes we see people by listening to them. So seeing just means taking them in. The A is
Accepting.
Accept.
accepting. We accept them for who they are. The U is
Understand.
Understanding.
understanding, having empathy or compassion for them. And finally, the last one is
Responding.
responding. So I had this thought last week. Goes like this. If we talk about shame, shame is just like SAUR without the A and the U. When we shame someone, we see them, we don't accept them, we don't recognize, we don't understand them, but we sure do respond if we don't like what someone's doing. So shame is love, but without the good parts. It's still seeing someone, it's not accepting them, it's not understanding them, and it's still responding. Okay, this is my first time bringing this out of the gates, folks. I'd love to hear some commentary back. What do you got?
Say it again. Say it again.
Thank you, Emily, for asking. That in shame is just like loving, except we do the opposite of accepting and understanding. We still see the person. We go, oh, look at that dumb idiot over there. We see them, but we don't accept them for who they are. We don't understand them for who they are, and we still respond.
Oh, see
That
them.
shame is love without acceptance and understanding, which isn't really love.
I like that.
I liked it too. Diana
Yeah.
has something to say. I just saw you unmute yourself quickly, so go ahead.
Yeah, I would just kind of divorce it from love. I find
Okay,
shame
okay,
doesn't have much to do with love.
okay.
But
That's perfectly fair. But it fits up
but
on
do you
my letters.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
but do you shame somebody you don't love?
Sure,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Okay, just checking.
But
On the other
thank you for
hand, a
asking.
lot of times,
Yeah.
It's love.
Say it again, Ron.
a lot of times I've been shamed by someone who claims they're doing it out of love.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
right.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to make this commentary, and we have this. Often we have these discussions, and I love what was just done, where we talked about where we're talking about how this affected me. I didn't feel this, or there's where Diana's saying, "Hey, that is shame, but let's pull it away from love." It's wonderful to have feedback and to turn things over. And I do have the goal of talking more about shame. And I want you to think about it. We're going to get to shame after we do all the rest of the review. I want you to think about a time you felt horrible shame.
Mm.
And maybe you'd be willing to share what was some of that, what was it related to. You don't have to, right? I don't want anyone to share beyond where they're comfortable, but to share about your personal experience of shame. So I wrote here on a little note that I'm looking more for application and responses, not intellectual semantics.
Right.
John Finley, go ahead, my friend.
It may just be a personal semantic thing, but the R for me is react. when I hear respond, that means it's something that's been thought through, the outcome
Okay.
considered.
Okay.
A
And this was
reaction is not, it's just a reflex.
okay. I could go with
Okay.
either one at the end there. That's useful. And that is something that we talk about often here is this idea of not reacting but responding. And that's from that.
Yes.
The reason, so I said some last week, and I brought in a Thich Nhat Hanh quote about lettuce. How many of you, by a show of hands, have a little bit of a memory? And the
Very
quote
little.
about lettuce was Thich Nhat Hanh said, "When lettuce doesn't grow, we don't blame the lettuce. We blame that there wasn't enough sun, there wasn't enough water, the soil pH was off, anything else wrong." And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I would like to give us all the homework of not blaming the lettuce, of not shaming other people, not making other people feel like they did anything wrong. And I guess or we'll get to this question and I had, blah, 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 blah. Let me try to get one thought out
Perfect.
at a time. I'd used the quote, "There is nothing that harshness does that loving kindness, firm boundaries doesn't do better." And I'd like you to think about not only about a time where you felt shame or you shamed someone else, but is there anything that shame does that loving kindness doesn't do better? And hold on to that because I want to go over the other things we talked about last week. We talked about spiritual barometers, and I didn't look this up, and I'm wondering maybe there's somebody who could tell us, do you know what a barometer? I don't know the answer to this. What does a barometer do? It tells you barometric pressure. Great, fantastic. Why do I care? Why did
Because
people used to use it?
that
Go ahead.
influences the weather.
So it's like a weather forecast.
Yeah.
To some
But
extent.
They are
It's a
predictive of the weather.
measuring device.
It's a measuring device that depicts what future weather is going to be. So let me ask you now, because we've talked about a
No,
spiritual barometer. We've talked often about having a spiritual barometer of how much
it
something that
tells you what weather is like right now. It
it tells you
doesn't
what the
predict
weather
the
is.
future.
Okay, so
Basically, what a barometer does is it measures atmospheric pressure. And the way it is used is you use it, and this is actually one that came off of our family sailboat years ago. And basically what you do is you use it to measure changes. So when I look at my barometer today, there's a little needle, and I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a needle that lines up that shows what the current pressure is. And then there's a little brass indicator that you can turn that uses a marker. So you turn the little brass indicator to where the barometric pressure is now, check it in an hour or two, and then you can see whether the barometric pressure is rising, which is likely a predictor of fair weather, or if the barometric pressure is falling, which is an indicator of foul weather. And the
okay,
quicker it
okay.
drops, the
Thank you.
scarier the foul weather.
Thank you. Thank you. So I
Sorry for
guess
the
my
trivia lesson.
question is,
Seems relevant.
no. This is exactly right. Does this fit with my idea that we all have a spiritual barometer that tells us what our temperature is, what our annoyance is at this moment?
Yes.
I think everyone does. And I think also that looking for that, looking for that delta, looking for that change tells you where you're trending, right? So it's
I
not
think I
just a
used the
measure
word
of where you
barometer
are right
because
now.
spiritual thermometer just didn't have the right feel to it. I
Yeah,
used
no,
the word
I think
barometer
barometer
instead.
is,
Barometer is much
I
better.
think
Much
barometer is a
better.
very fair term to use because you're measuring what your pressure is right now.
Oh,
But
I
if you,
like that. Thank you, Alex. It measures
but
your pressure. Works totally.
you're taking your pressure right now, but it also, if you use it correctly, like the barometer I just put up on camera, if you use it correctly, you also can measure the delta, what the change is, what your mood
Right.
is
I got you.
changing.
So
And
I'd like to
so is your
offer
mood improving or is it, not?
I'd like to offer a spiritual barometer for you right now that you can use. You can use it right now in this very service that we are in. You know the person on the screen that totally annoys you? I want you to think
Yes.
about everyone has one. You have somebody who irks you on this screen. I want you to think, is that person irking me
Myself.
more today? It can be yourself. Is that person irking me more today or less today than they are normally? And what does that tell me about my atmospheric pressure?
Hmm.
That was that was my addition to add into the spiritual barometer is that we can use each other for that. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of go ahead, John.
With the barometer, we it also has is part of the thing of STP, standard temperature and pressure. Do we have a standard pressure in a spiritual
Mm,
barometer?
No.
Like, is there a 0 point that we always come back to? Pressure goes
yeah.
down and then we get back to normal. Pressure goes up, we get back to normal. Or the change, are we striving to make the change in a positive direction? And
Right.
therefore, normal has to be reset.
Well,
You
like
can
what
have,
Alex was saying, and I think you're right. I think our goal as we age is to be able to withstand more and more things that used to have frustrated us greatly. I have a dear friend who told me, I've realized that my spiritual barometer is set to 2. I can handle one annoying thing happen, but when the second annoying thing happens, I lose my shit. So they know where their spiritual barometer is. It's great to know. I've already gotten angry. There's one thing that I didn't get completely pissed off about today, and that means I better watch out. Go ahead, Harold or Connie or both.
I was going to kind of expand the barometer. Barometer is a measure of the air on top of you against the standard where zero air is. It's normally set to 0 ground elevation. The standard is 30 inches of mercury. So in line with the same comments that John made is if you change altitudes, like I live at 3,000 feet,
You
my
have to readjust.
my barometer is readjusted, so my standard is 30 inches, just like
Okay.
it would be if I lived near the water or the ocean. So it gets
It,
readjusted to the standard.
can we
And
all think of a sentence in our heads of how that would apply to our spiritual barometer? If we are in a different location, we might wind up, hey, I went home for the holidays. My spiritual barometer, I need to reset the down to -5.
Or with different people.
Right, 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 right,
sure,
right. That it doesn't always start at the same 0. It depends on our situation. Thank you, Harold, for expanding on the metaphor. Appreciate that. Not get. I want us to talk for a moment about gratitude. We talked a little bit about gratitude last week. Gratitude. Do you remember there was a math formula for gratitude that I posted up? That gratitude equaled one thing minus something else. Gratitude is equal
Sounds
to,
math.
you got it? Gratitude is equal to moments of conscious thankfulness minus verbalized complaints. Gratitude is equal to moments of verbalized thankfulness. It doesn't count if you don't say it, minus moments of conscious thankfulness minus verbalized complaints. I don't think a complaint inside your head counts It's only if you complain to someone else that it takes away from your gratitude score. And that,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I don't agree.
I love
I
that.
think I think that you can feel gratitude in the way you react to the world. You don't have to talk about it. That you look at the
Yes,
world
yes,
and you
yes, yes,
suddenly
yes.
smile.
I screwed it up, Carol. Thank you. Thank you so much. I said verbalize thankfulness. It's moments of conscious, did it wrong. It's gratitude are moments of conscious thankfulness minus verbalized complaints. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Thank you for calling me out on that, Carol. Gratitude is equal to conscious moments of conscious thankfulness minus verbalized complaints. The reason I want to come back to this one today is I had somebody send me a cryptic small email that said, "Thank you for what you've done for me." And I wrote back, "I'd love to know more. What have I done for you?" And they wrote a really long email, paragraphs long, about what religion outside the box and what me running religion outside the box has helped them with in their life. Without that
Wonderful.
having been verbalized, I wouldn't know. Gertrude Stein is quoted as having said, "Silent gratitude isn't much good to anyone." Silent gratitude isn't much good to anyone.
It's good to the person.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's not true.
I'm not
Go
going to
ahead.
argue with Gertrude Stein. She scares me.
Wise man. Very wise.
So I think the key in her phrase was she says it isn't much good to anyone. Not that it isn't good, but it isn't much good to anyone. It's much better if your thankfulness is verbalized, if the other person knows. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, yes, if you're talking about someone else, but how many times have we all done something simply, for ourselves? Or we've planned on doing something and we've done it, and then we're grateful that we did because it gives us a feeling of self-respect and accomplishment, and we don't have to verbalize that. I
Correct.
think often that gratitude and complaining about something are two different things. I mean, they may all be fruit, but one's an apple and one's an orange. I
They are
think that
different
they're
things.
separate
That I'm
Fruit,
things.
You can just have thankfulness, but what my getting to was that every time we verbalize a complaint, we lock that in. And if we're going for that 4-to-1 ratio that we spoke about, it would be 4 compliments, 4 moments of conscious thankfulness minus every time we say something wrong. If you want to have more gratitude, you can just do up the number of moments of conscious thankfulness. Or your other option, and this is the one nobody ever really wants to take me up on, your other option is,
Reduce the
complaints.
complaints.
yeah,
No,
mitigate, reduce the number of complaints that you give. I have a quote. It's the quote I wanted to. The soul that gives thanks can find comfort in everything. The soul that complains can find comfort in nothing. The soul that gives thanks can find
Uh,
comfort in
I
everything.
I think it's a very individual thing, though, whether a complaint is verbalized, because some people are more verbal with their complaints. Some people tend to think of them, but not bother other people with them.
I'll tell you, you want to really bother me, give me more compliments. What? No. Who's going to be we're gonna slightly disagree on that. Go ahead, Ron, and
No,
then Jack.
I'm
I'm sorry.
talking about
Let
complaint.
me go back to Betsy. Sorry, Betsy.
I'm talking about complaints, not compliments.
Complaints.
Just
Let's not complain to other people so much.
Yep,
Can we agree on
well,
that?
well,
of course.
but yeah, I was saying that
Missing what you're
some
saying.
some
I
people
apologize.
some people do more complaining to other people, and some people do more complaining inwardly.
Yes, 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 yes. We might be able to mitigate against both, hopefully.
And I'm not thinking specifically of complaints against other people. I mean, there's complaints about our condition.
Right, we can criticize ourselves, and I got a bunch of people on screen who would say, yes, I do that. Let me take some other hands, Ron, Jack, and Ruth.
Yesterday, I went up to the audiologist on Pill Hill at the VA center and to for an annual review of how I'm doing with my tinnitus. And when I first was tested, I had a score of 48. Then they started treatment. I was part of a couple of studies. I got a little device. And after a year of that, it went down to 24.
Yay.
And as I was filling out the questionnaire yesterday morning, I realized I wasn't complaining
Mm,
about my tinnitus anymore. My score had gone down to 14, which is mild tinnitus. And it's entirely because I realized even when it's loud, I'm in control of it. I have
interesting.
tools to help me to control it and just put it in the background. And
Right.
have
Love that.
understanding that you're in control of the situation, even when it's a pain in the ass at the moment, makes it less to complain about.
I love that. I love that. And the more we complain, the more we're adding kerosene to the fire. Go ahead, Jack, and then Ruth.
Well, first of all, there's an ocean of difference between what comes from the mind and what comes from the heart. And a lot of the stuff that I've heard all morning is coming from the mind and not from the heart.
I can't disagree with you, Jack. We are more comfortable, and that's why I ask people to start thinking about shame, and that we can talk about personal experience about shame to try to help us to figure out what shame is. Go ahead, Ruth. Thank you, Jack.
You're muted, Ruth.
What do you do when the person you compliment does not want to receive the compliment?
Ruth, what do you do when you give someone a compliment and they don't want to take in the
When
compliment?
the person that you compliment does not want to receive the compliment.
Do you have an answer for us, Ruth?
I don't. If I did, I wouldn't ask the question.
I complimented somebody once, and actually I said to her, "You are very appreciated." She said, "I'm not appreciated." And I said, "Don't argue with me." And that
That's
took
a
care
great
of it.
response.
Yeah.
Great
Don't argue
response.
with Meg.
Yeah. I think not taking it personally would also help. And if somebody's not open to taking a compliment, I mean, is that so? I
Just,
mean, here's so be it.
just,
Go ahead.
just swallow it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's how I start when someone doesn't like it, is I go to Emily's, just swallow. But I know people who just do not want to be complimented. It's upsetting to them, sort of thing. So what I have tried, because I work with them on a team sort of thing, and so I've been doing team compliments and including them sort of thing, right?
Oh,
So
very smart.
and I think that helps. I think it helps.
Well, we hope it does. I think also reflecting back, and I've done this, is I've said, you're not really good at taking in compliments, are you? Go ahead, Diana.
I don't know if we want to do this, but I have a shame story I'm willing to go
I
to.
am delighted. Let us
Thank
talk
you.
about shame. But before you tell it, I want to explain to everyone a little story. I was walking with my kids, and one of them asked me what was the difference between caramel and remember what the other one was that was just like caramel. Caramel and toffee,
Butter,
maybe that buttercream,
butter,
butterscotch and now I forgot the first one.
Caramel.
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 And we didn't know what the difference was. And before we looked it up on our phones, I said, let's ask people. So we stopped people. It's Northeast Portland. So what we did was we said, hey, do you happen to know the difference between butterscotch and caramel? We're trying to figure it out. And eventually we got to someone who could tell us. I apologize. I don't remember the difference. I'll have to. But the idea was that the knowledge is out there. And I firmly believe that there's enough of us on screen right now who have had enough experiences and enough thoughts about shame that we can really get to a great butterscotch versus caramel without looking it up, just in the wisdom that's here. So let's see what we do, and we'll bring us over to Diana to start us out. Talk to us about shame. Topic now is shame.
Okay. This is a recent shame experience. Many of you know my husband died in June. We had 2 cars, the new car and the old car, which we call the dog car. I had been vying to sell the dog car for the last year of his life, but Barry wanted to keep it. Okay. But it wasn't being driven very much. Barry dies. I'm ready to sell the car. Friends of mine who borrowed the dog car said, we would like to buy it. Great. I get what I know needs to be done. They take it. And the very first day, as they drive home, it overheats.
Oh.
They have to pull to the side of the road. It gets towed to the AAA car care center. And my friend calls me and says, Diana, I hate to tell you this, but this car is overheated. And they say it doesn't have any coolant in it. It needs a new radiator and maybe a new engine.
Boy.
Not only is this bad news, but I was just flooded with shame.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
And I was racing to, what am I going to do about this? I'm just going to take it back and junk the car. You know, I was getting all reactive. And so I said, let me sit with this and call my mechanic and just check up on what was done and what wasn't done. So in the course of that day, I was just like, why am I feeling so much shame about this? And, you know, I realized what was going on was, I mean, Barry was dying. My attention was totally not on driving that car, caring for the car. My friend was saying, well, these are pretty basic things that needed to be done. And I was like, she was like, I think your mechanic let you down. And I was like, no, we let ourselves down, but we let ourselves down for a good reason because that car was not the priority. Yeah. So, and she was just like, I totally get it. Of course you weren't paying attention. So we worked out a beautiful deal and got it fixed, and they have it and everybody's happy. But the story, the lesson for me was look underneath the shame to what's really going on. And what was going on was tremendous sadness about, you know, Barry would never have let that car get in that shape if he was well. You know, my attention was totally on him, and I have to forgive myself for letting him get in that shape.
Not only forgive yourself, be glad it happened after Barry died.
Yeah.
He could have been the last one driving it when it went bad.
Yeah. Yeah. True, Carol.
So it was the right timing.
Yeah. And I was also realized I was glad I honored his wish to just keep it.
Yeah.
You know, until he didn't have to see it go.
I think
So
the best is
lesson.
you forgave yourself, Diana. I like that.
Well, Emily, it's not something I'm very skilled at, I will tell you.
It takes
Like if
practice.
you're as old as me, you have to get good at it.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It's beautiful of feeling shame and then forgiving yourself. Kimberly Ann, go ahead. You're on mute though. Thank you, Diana, for sharing your heart.
Mhm.
Yes.
Kimberly, you're still on mute, my friend.
Oh, good.
Kimberly,
Kimberly's on.
you're on mute. You are on mute. It's going to be a little too much to do with charades, I think.
Yeah. No, so
There
now
you are.
you have me. Okay. There's a big difference between embarrassment and shame. And I think that what you experienced was embarrassment about the condition of the car,
Okay,
not shame.
hold on.
Okay. I assure
not
you it was shame.
Was
I
it?
felt like
You,
I was just bad and wrong for not having taken care of it.
let's
It
get
wasn't embarrassment.
But you had a
love.
reason.
Wait. Stop.
Okay.
I'm going to call a flag. It is not for us to tell other people how they are feeling. And it's wonderful and it's honorable and it's noble that we want to help our friends out of what looks like a difficult
Mhm.
situation. And so we try to fix it. That's not always in keeping with where they are. And what I'm going to ask again is if you have a story about shame, of yourself feeling shame or yourself realizing you had been shamed, I want that more than intellectuals and thinkings.
So glad you could forgive yourself, Diana.
No, thank you.
I had a shame recently when I had a really brilliant thought and I wanted to share it. And I finally did. I started to. And then all of a sudden, because I'm old, I forgot what I was going to say. Felt such shame that I wasn't as brilliant as I wanted to look like.
Yeah. Thank you, Emily, for keeping it real. Shame. I'm going to go back to where we started with that shame is where we feel seen, but we're not feeling loved.
Okay.
That's with a moment to shame. I can tell you, I go ahead, Dan, better than me.
I don't, I don't know if this is a shame thing or not, but I'm chairing a hiring committee and I've screwed up the dates or times of two different interviews recently. So that one interviewee turned up the day before when nobody else was there and was wondering where everybody was. And then another one, I ignored what someone had said or I misread it and said it for the wrong day. And then, even though I'd corrected it, one person was still a bit confused. One of the interviewers this time, which wasn't as bad as the interviewee being screwed up. But yeah, I didn't feel good about that. Like, why am I not paying attention properly? So, yeah.
Yeah. Shame is we feel like we should be able to do something more than what are capable of. We're not hitting it right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like you're saying one is saying to oneself, I said to myself, I am incompetent. I don't take care of things. It's about who I am, not what I, did or didn't do so much, but I am faulty.
Yeah.
There's the aphorism that guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is that the
I didn't get the second part, Brian.
that shame is guilt is I did something wrong. I shouldn't have done that. That breaks my moral code. Shame is I am wrong. Wrong is in
Yeah.
me. There's something defective in me. The Gestalt therapeutic model flips this. And I love how they change it, and they change it to that shame is an indication that we are not in an environment that has enough love for us to be ourselves. That shame is that we are not in an environment where we are loved enough to be ourselves. And we can do that without other people around, or we can do that with other people around. That shame doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It means there's not enough love in the system.
Wow.
That's huge.
It's beautiful. Let's take another moment here on shame.
Okay, now I don't know if my example is shame
Just
or
do it. Do it,
guilt.
Maria. No shame, no shame, no shame here.
Well, sometimes I correct the other person who happens to live in this house. And I think of the 70% rule, right? If they get something 70% correct, let the rest go. And so sometimes I will just automatically, like I just immediately correct them. And not often, but sometimes they do let me know that I've upset them. And I'm thinking to myself, I know better. I know better. I should be doing better. Like I hurt their feelings, sort of thing. And
Hear
then
you,
I
Maria.
get upset with myself, right? And I know the stages of learning, but
That's
I drop back.
exactly right. It's exactly right. Is you're learning. There's this terrible thing when we're learning something new, is that point where we see ourselves do the thing that we wish we wouldn't do, but 2 months ago we didn't even notice that we did it.
Yeah.
I find myself correcting Jane. I'm like, schmuck, don't correct her. Don't correct her. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's still reflective. It's still reaction and not a response. I have to forgive myself for Andy and Ellen, or both.
Um, I have an example of when I felt shame and still do. And it's complicated. So I'm trying to figure out how to simplify it, not have to go into a lot of details. So a few years ago, our family, which is two adult daughters and us, were in a very difficult time. Our older daughter was very, very upset with the rest of us. And she was really angry at us. And she, at one point, she was just reaming me out for how terrible I was and how things happened. And she was blaming me and us. And she asked me if I knew about something that happened, that our daughter and I, our younger daughter and I made a decision, and we made a decision to um, contact one of our older daughter's friends to see if she could help us with a situation. So our younger daughter did that. She had a relationship with her. So our older daughter found out about it and wanted to know if I knew about it, if I was involved. And I lied and I said no. And I threw our younger daughter under the bus. And I just felt that I had a split second to decide which would make things worse, to tell her at that point where she was just exploding with anger about all kinds of things. Anyway, so I said something that wasn't true. I think maybe I said I knew about it afterwards or something. So I made it sound like I knew about it, but that I wasn't really instrumentally involved in it. So I let that go for quite a long time. And then I finally decided that I couldn't do that to our younger daughter anymore. So I went to our older daughter and told her I needed to confess something to her, and I wasn't proud of it. And I told her what I had done. And I still feel shame about it, that I, would have made that decision. And actually, I'm not even sure if I would do it again the same way, because if I had it to do over again, I guess I don't know what the ramifications and if I had made a different choice at that time. But I hope I wouldn't do the same thing because it's, I think lying like that, or there are two things, lying and throwing our younger daughter out under the bus were both things that I'm still ashamed of.
Thank you.
Ellen, thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable and sharing with all of us. I wish I had a magic wand and I could turn the shame into guilt. And
Well, that's okay. I feel both. I'm a good Jewish girl. I was born with guilt.
thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Jack. You're on mute, Jack. I wonder if does anyone feel guilt and shame that they're talking when they're still on mute?
No.
We forgive ourselves that
Reminder.
trespass. Yeah, that
sure.
trespass we allow. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I always feel that when I trust and don't verify.
You always feel shame and guilt when you trust without verifying.
Yep.
Fair.
I mean, that's it for me. It's a lifelong thing.
Well, thank
Always
you.
been there.
Thank you for sharing. Jen,
Good morning.
good morning.
What Ellen was saying was resonated with me because it's very echoey. Can you guys hear that?
It's off. Hold on one second. I'm
Um,
going to mute you for a second, Jen. Oh, bad news, Jen. It seems to be you. No guilt, no shame. We're
no
going to
problem.
listen to you do it again, and we'll see if we can't make it out.
We can give it a shot. Is that better?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Anyway, I was an overdrinker for years and years and years and years, and there's lots of shame that goes along with that because it's kind of like an embarrassing thing, but then if you do it over and over again, it becomes shame. And
Mhm.
I quit 5 years ago, and just kind of like what Ellen, it just reminded me of like if we could replace the thing that we did that we didn't like about ourselves with the thing that we did to right it and come to terms with it. So apologizing and taking responsibility and being thoughtful about it, and even honest about what you would do again in the future. Like that's the beauty of it is like, could we replace that thing that we did that we didn't like with the thing we did to change the thing we didn't like and make that be our sort of our new feeling about it. So it just was something that came up for me.
Love it. To be proud of ourselves where we used to feel shame, feel forgiven where we
Yeah.
used to feel guilt. Wonderful. Let's strive for that. I'm going to turn our attention to Maria, who has a list of people for whom we want to say some prayers and thought. Maria.
These are the individuals to whom we are sending light and love. Alex, John, and Rebecca, Cullen and kids, Gwen and Reed, public school students and teachers in Alberta, Irma P. and family, Tommy R., Jen H., Michael H., and the U.S., Kelly and her daughter, Rita S., Sheridan H., Arulane Hill, Ebony, and Beth Carney. If there is another individual in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Maria. We'll take a minute of time.
Yet.
Thank you all. So next week, when it's 160 something to 170 hours from now, what's the thing you're leaving here that you're going to be thinking the most about?
Who I can shame.
Thank you, Rob.
I'm wondering, I think, Rabbi, you said that you can change shame to feeling proud by how you
If
look
you
at it.
can.
How do you, I mean, I'm wondering how you do that because I still feel shame, even though I'm proud that I apologized, and talked to my daughter about it. But can you ever stop feeling shame?
I will tell you my answer has to do with butterscotch and caramel. Don't have the answer.
Don't
No, the
think
answer's
about
out
it.
there. So Ellen,
Oh,
let's spend the week thinking about and asking people, how have you been able to in your life turn moments of guilt into moments of pride? Have you been able to take moments of shame and transform them and move on from them? Let's ask people. Let's find out because the answer's out there and it has to do with the sugar content or brown sugar content or milk or I don't know what. But great. So look at that. Let's and then next week come back and report in. And if you don't have any good answers, no shame. It's fine. What else is someone going to be leaving here contemplating?
That shame is not enough love in the environment.
Shame means that there's not enough love in the environment for us to be ourselves.
Hey there.
I think back to that question of, what do you do about shame? And sometimes you just have to, like live with it and not try not to think about it too much. Like I've got some much worse stories of things I did when I was much younger. And, I'm willing to say I was young and stupid and being a bit of an asshole. And, I wouldn't do it now. That's the best I can do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, trust everyone will think on something. I'm going to
Yeah,
put
that's a
all of
good
us on the screen and let's come back next week and share what we've learned. Let's wave goodbye to the people on Facebook and the people watching on YouTube. Thank you all for spending this hour plus with me, and I'll see you in 160 something hours.
Bye, Wesley and Dad.
166 and a half if you go up to the half hour early start.
Trying to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, there we are. We're